Welcome again to our lectures on stylistics. This is lecture number 4, and the theme of this lecture is Special Literary Vocabulary. It is specially designed for the students of the Department of English and German Languages, studying for the specialty Foreign Language to Foreign Languages, by the lecturer Ussenova Saule, Master of Arts in Philology. The outline of this lecture covers the following points. The first is barbarisms. Next, we will discuss foreign words. After that, we will consider terms. And we will finish the lecture with the literary coinages, including nonce words. If you remember, during the previous lecture, we spoke about the stylistic classification of the English vocabulary. And we told that the English vocabulary stylistically is divided into neutral words, special literary vocabulary, and special colloquial vocabulary, non-literary. Well, in the previous lecture, we considered some subgroups within the special literary vocabulary, such as poetic words and archaic words. Well, in this lecture, we will continue discussing special literary vocabulary, but some other groups within this large layer. Such groups as barbarisms and foreign words, terms, and literary coinages, including nonce words. First of all, we will speak about barbarisms. Barbarisms are words which have already become facts of the English language. They are a historical category. Etymologically, this term rooted in barbaros, the babbling outsider unable to speak Greek. The greater part of barbarisms was borrowed into English from French. For example, protégé, apropos. Many foreign words which were used in literary English to express a concept non-existent in English reality have little by little entered the class of words named barbarisms, and they have gradually lost their foreign peculiarities and have merged with the native English word stock. In fact, barbarisms are assimilated borrowings. For example, conscious, retrograde, strenuous were words which made fun as unnecessary borrowings from the French. With the passing of time, they have become common English literary words. The same can be said of the words scientific, methodical, penetrate, function, obscure, which were once barbarisms, but now they are lawful members of the common literary word stock of the language. It should be noted that we must draw a difference between barbarisms and terminological borrowings. Such words as solo, tenor, concerto, and the like should also be distinguished from barbarisms. They are terms. Terminological borrowings have no synonyms. Barbarisms, on the contrary, may have exact synonyms. Unlike barbarisms, foreign words, though used for certain stylistic purposes, do not belong to the English vocabulary. They are not registered by English dictionaries. In printed works, foreign words and phrases are generally italicized to indicate their alien nature or their stylistic value. Both foreign words and barbarisms are widely used in various styles of language with various aims. One of these functions is to supply local color. in order to depict local conditions of life, specific facts and events, customs and habits. Special care is taken to introduce into passage such language elements as will reflect the environment. For instance, in the novel Vanity Fair, Thackeray takes the reader to a small German town. By introducing several German words into his narrative, the author gives an indirect description of the peculiarities of the German menu and the environment in general. The little boy, too, we observed, had a famous appetite and consumed Schinken and Braten and Kartoffeln. The German words are italicized to show their alien nature and at the same time their stylistic function in the passage. Though these words have not become facts of the English language. The function of the foreign words used in the context may be considered to provide local color as a background to the narrative. This device may be likened to one used in painting by representatives of the Dutch school who made their background almost indistinguishable in order that the foreground elements might stand out distinctly and colorfully. Another function of barbarisms and foreign words is to build up the stylistic device of non-personal direct speech or represented speech. The following lines may serve as an example. She looked at his clothes, said, "Don't tell me," and pressed his hand. "Annette is pretty well, but the doctor says she can never have no more children. You knew that?" Soames nodded. "It's a pity. Ma la petite est adorable du café." Soames got away from her as soon as he could. She offended him. Solid, matter-of-fact, quick, clear, French. He could not bear her vowels, her r's. This is an extract from the famous novel with The Forsyte Saga by John Galsworthy. One more function of barbarism is an exactifying function. For instance, the English farewell is a formal word for parting and in fact means to part forever. When French au revoir is used, it has the meaning of see you soon again. Let us not say farewell, but as French people say, au revoir. This is an example from the novel Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. The next subgroup within the layer of special literary vocabulary is professional terminology. Term is a word or a word group which is specifically employed by a particular branch of science, technology, trade, or the arts to convey a concept peculiar to this particular activity. Terms are mostly used in special works dealing with the notions of some branch of science. Stephen Allman states that all scientists are linguists to some extent. They are responsible for devising a consistent terminology, a skeleton language to talk about their subject matter. Philologists and philosophers of speech are in the peculiar position of having to evolve a special language to talk about language itself. We can say that terms belong to the style of language of science. Most professions have specialized vocabularies. People who work in those professions know, understand, and use terms that may not be used by the general population. Additionally, words that may have a certain meaning in one context may have a different meaning when used by members of a certain profession. For example, members of the medical profession and members of the construction or building profession both talk about joints. However, when we know they are not talking about the same kind of joint. When we talk about texts, both literary and non-literary, the English profession, and for that matter most well-educated people, use a specific vocabulary to discuss what they have seen or read. For instance, the terms polysemy, synonymy, homonymy, etc. belong to lexicology, which is a branch of linguistics. The terms labialization, palatalization, glottal belong to theoretical phonetics. We might meet with some controversial problems in dealing with terminology. The first is the puzzling question of whether a term loses its terminological status when it comes into common usage. Many linguists strongly support the idea that terms are only those words which have retained their exclusiveness and are not known or recognized outside their specific sphere. From this point of view, the words belonging to the medical sphere, like theater or contact, are no longer medical terms as long as they are in common usage. The same can be true of some diseases or medicines. There is yet another point of view, according to which any terminological system is supposed to include all the words and word groups conveying concepts peculiar to a particular branch of knowledge, regardless of their exclusiveness. According to contemporary researchers, terminologies seem to obey the same rules and laws as other vocabulary strata. Therefore, exchange between terms and common words is quite natural, and it would be wrong to regard a term as something standing apart. One more problem dealing with terms is the problem of polysemy and synonymy. If a term has many meanings, if it is polysemantic, it may lead us to misunderstanding. The usage of terms is not confined to the scientific functional style. In fact, terms can be used in different styles: belles lettres style, publicistic style, newspaper style, etc. When used in belles lettres style, a term may acquire a stylistic function. And the last but not the least group within the special literary vocabulary layer is literary coinages. There is a term in linguistics which, by its very nature, is ambiguous, and that term is neologism. In dictionaries, it is generally defined as a new word or a new meaning for an established word. The coining of new words generally arises with the need to designate new concepts, resulting from the development of science and with the need to express nuances of meaning called forth by a deep understanding of the nature of the phenomenon. Newly coined words which designate newborn concepts may be named terminological coinages. The second type, that is, words coined because their creators seek expressive utterance, may be named stylistic coinages. Another type of neologism is the nonce words. It is a word coined to suit one particular occasion. They remain on the outskirts of the literary language and not infrequently remind us of the writers who coined them. For example, let me say in the beginning that even if I wanted to avoid taxes, I could not, for I am wived in Texas, and mother-in-lawed, and uncled, and aunted, and cousined. This is an example by Jane Steinberg. This is all in brief concerning the three groups within the layer of special literary vocabulary. To check comprehension of the content of this lecture, you are suggested to answer the following questions. What are the subgroups within the special literary vocabulary? How do you understand the term barbarism? What is the difference between barbarisms and foreign words? What are the controversial problems connected with professional terminology? And what is a nonce word? As a rule, you are suggested the list of sources that can be used for further reading. Thank you for your attention.